Thank you for attending today. Between 2003 and 2015, national averages in mathematics declined 26.7 points, that's 5.1%. And as of today, almost 50% of Australian students in Year 10 are failing science literacy tests. Around 30% of students are not making sufficient progress in both literacy and numeracy, falling short of the NAPLAN proficiency benchmark. And in the average classroom, 8 out of 24 students, that's 1/3, cannot read at the expected grade level, lacking proficiency. Would you agree that improving literacy and numeracy should be the #1 priority of the department or the agency?
So just to be clear, I think you're quoting from some PISA reports there between 2003 and 2015, just so I know the reference point for that, Senator.
No, normally I'm provided with it, but I haven't got it.
Okay, that's all right.
So they're pretty startling figures.
Yeah, and to 2015, which is, of course, a while ago now, and there has been some movement. That's why I'm asking if those are PISA results, of course. But I think we're all well aware that, and as I said previously to Senator Henderson, that there continues to be areas of challenge. Now, you've mentioned 2 there, and of course, literacy and numeracy are the foundation for knowledge acquisition across the curriculum, and they are incredibly important, as you say. Whether they are the only ones, I would say no, particularly in this day and age. They provide the foundational skills. I think in the Shergold review, I think it was, that there was an argument actually that digital literacy was becoming a 3rd foundational component. I think that is something that we all need to consider about the foundations are expanding in terms of what we want our children to learn and understand and engage with society at large at the moment. And I think that's part of our challenge, is how do we support those students with a broader range of skills that they need in the future, whilst ensuring they have the foundational skills that they will need to support all of that for their entire lives. So I think, just to be clear, yes, literacy and numeracy are foundational skills that are of utmost importance.
That's pleasing to hear. Are you aware of any political bias in the education system or national curriculum?
No, I'm not. So you'd probably be political bias. I think you'd need to probably give me an example.
Okay, I'll give you a couple of examples in the next couple of questions. In 2005, the Australian Education Union President Pat Burns spoke about the union's success in influencing curriculums in the education sector. She said, and I quote, "We have succeeded in influencing curriculum development." Then a break there. Then Conservatives have a lot of work to do to undo the progressive curriculum. That's the end of the quote. Are you denying there's been any influence on curriculum developed by political partisans? They seem to be taking credit for it.
Sorry?
They're taking credit for it.
Well, the ministers across the country approve the Australian curriculum. So I think that probably answers your question about the factors that go into their mind. You'd have to talk to them about that. But ACARA provides advice on the curriculum content through extensive consultation and work with experts about what should be the content.
Do you do research into what could be happening in the curriculum, in the implementation?
Yes.
Okay.
Part of our remit, Senator, yes.
Yeah, that's good. I'll quote from an article in The Australian, quote, "Universities deliver woke degrees to trainee teachers who demand more practical training," end of quote. That's in September 23. It goes on to say, "Lecturers have critiqued the social and political content of the Australian curriculum, mandated by the nation's education ministers," that's presumably states, "for teaching children from primary school through to Year 10. A lecture slide notes, we aren't even doing a very good job, tallying up 19 references to social justice, Aboriginal rights, invasion, colonisation, the stolen generation, assimilation, social justice and racism." That's the end of the quote. It doesn't sound like we're focusing solely on literacy or numeracy. It sounds like we're getting a lot of distractions in there that people can make up for in their own interests.
Senator, I think the curriculum has 8 key learning areas. So already, and of course mathematics and English are in there. Literacy and numeracy are part of the general capabilities which, of course, as you would understand, Senator, across all of those 8 key learning areas. You need literacy and numeracy skills to engage with science knowledge.
And even for digital.
Correct. And digital is one of those cross-curriculum perspectives, general capabilities as well. So I think that is part of the challenge, is that the breadth of the curriculum and what we're asking our children to learn, the foundation of their literacy and numeracy, but that is insufficient. It needs to be much broader than that. We talk a lot about knowledge acquisition. You've heard Dr Donovan here today talk about that in the best way, and the research that's been done on cognitive load theory, and how we get students to learn and understand the content that we expect of them through the Australian curriculum. So you're right, it isn't just about English and maths. It's much broader than that. I don't think anyone would disagree that we need science, digital, as you've been talking about. I know this committee has also asked me previously around behaviour. So we do expect our teachers to teach personal and social capabilities as part of the curriculum as well. These are important building blocks to pull all of that together, so when they leave school they can contribute to society and also work in that society that is ever-changing.
What makes us unique as a species, almost, maybe dolphins have it, is numeracy and certainly language. Except maybe dolphins and whales, but we have a sophisticated language.
Yep.
And it seems like numeracy and literacy are taking second fiddle, playing second fiddle to many other things that have just been shoved into, as that teacher said, a woke agenda. So in just 5 years, between 2018 and 2023, Australia has recorded a 111% increase in homeschool registrations. Do you take any responsibility for setting the curriculum that's driving that shift? In other words, what I've heard anecdotally from many people in different states is that children came home during COVID lockdowns and they followed the curriculum, and the parents were absolutely shocked. And they said, "You're not going back to normal school, you're staying homeschool." And now I know a lot of people are homeschooling their children because of that. They're not happy with the curriculum at all.
Look, it's not really something I can comment on, Senator. We set the Australian curriculum, and then in terms of the states and territories and the individual school systems, they regulate homeschooling. And so if there's evidence out there that you're talking about, I understand that you're saying that anecdotal evidence.
Well, the 111% is measured, the increase in
sure,
homeschooling. But the driver I'm talking about is anecdotal.
That's right, and that's what I'm not aware of any research that's saying that the driver is curriculum. I accept that that's what you've heard.
It might be state's interpretation or implementation of the curriculum. I don't know.
Potentially, yeah, that's right. I guess that's why it's hard for me to comment without. I don't have that information.
Is there any interest from Makara to go and research that?
What
do you do research on with? Do you research with parents about their satisfaction or otherwise with the curriculum?
As part of our work, when we reviewed the curriculum, for instance, there was a public review of that, and we took all of that into account when we then provided that reviewed curriculum to ministers. So yes, there's a forum for the public to contribute to that process.
But no formal research apart from a forum that's one-off when you do a review?
They're an incredibly important stakeholder group, of course, Senator.
Parents, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so we, in fact, I met with the parent associations a couple of weeks ago, and whenever I go to different states and territories, I also meet with the local parents associations. That's across the sectors of government schools, Catholic and independent as well, and so I get feedback from them. In fact, one of the things I mentioned in my opening statement was the translation of some of that information into other languages, and that specifically came from parent groups saying it's really important that we have information that's accessible to all parents, including those where English is a second language.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.